Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Coach Truth. So today we'll be working on a snake game with Pygame and Python, and this is just a snake game we all used to play while we are young, where the snake go ahead and look for the food, and once the snake eats the food it gets longer, and whereby the snake increases in speed with time as long as it gets to eat the food, and the snake body must not touch the snake itself or the wall. So we just go ahead and looking for the food. So we're going to be creating this game from scratch with Python, and it's easy to follow whether you're a beginner or you're an advanced and you just want to do this for fun. This is okay for you, so just follow along as I create this game from scratch. It's a good game. Okay, I didn't lose there, so I'll just go ahead and lose myself now, so I can just start coding this project. So I'm into this game already, so now we quit the game, so we can just quit the game by pressing Q right here. So the first thing we need to do to create this game now is to import the necessary libraries we need, and the first library we'll be needing here is the Pygame library, right? So you just go ahead and install this library if you don't have it on your visual environment or just on your Python itself. So I'll just go ahead and say pip install Pygame. So this is pip install Pygame, and it's just going to go ahead and install this library for us. I have it installed already, so it will be dead already. So you can see requirements already satisfied. I've installed Pygame already, so I just go ahead and clear this screen. Okay, so now we installed Pygame. What we just do here is, okay, we import Pygame right here. So we just go pip install Pygame. Then yeah, that's what we want to import is Python, is random. Okay, pip install random. And the last one which we might be needing is time module. So right here now, this is our Pygame, and the next thing we want to do is just set up this Pygame interface to work with it. So we're going to initialize our Pygame window first, so just by running pygame.init. So running that is going to initialize that. So there's a typo here, so pygame.init, that's all right and ready. So let's define some variables. Yeah, and our first variable we'll be having is the screen dimension. So we'll go ahead and have our screen dimension right here. So we have the width and we have the height also. So I just define this. We want the width to be 800 pixel and the height to be 600 pixel. So we have that ready. Now I want to define the color we'll be using in RGB values. So I just write here now, just comment it right here now. We are defining, okay, let's say define the colors. So we're defining the colors right here now in, okay, RGB value. That's red, blue, and green values. So the first color we have here is black. So black is just 0 red, 0 blue, and 0 green. I'll be 0 green and 0 blue. So I'll be using this for the background color, so you can just go ahead and comment that right there, so you just know what it is used for, the background color. Okay, I'll just leave the commenting for now, so we can be fast with this tutorial. So you just be able to watch me keep on writing comments. So 255, 255. So when we have the maximum number of red, green, and blue, it's going to give us white, and when we have 0 of them, it's giving us black. So that's how that works. Then we are having red too. We are using this white. Yeah, I won't be using this white, so just go ahead and erase this. So let's just have red here instead. So and red here now we're having 213, 213, then 50 and 80. So this is combination of the colors that's going to give us the type of red we want. So green here now, we are using red here for the food, and now I want to use green for the snake, right? So green here is just by having 0 red. Just go ahead and have 0 red right here, then maximum value of green and 0 blue. So right there, that will give us the green color we want. And now the blue color will be for our score screen, like the score text we are going to have. So we just go ahead and say, okay, this is 50, then 153, Okay, so I didn't put my comma there. I just go ahead and go and put the comma back there. So just bring this down. 153 then. Okay, and the last one is 213. That's 113. So we're having that right there. So now we want to create the game window itself. So to create this game window is just going to have a variable called screen, and once our screen equals to pygame.display display dot set mode. Display dot set mode to width and the height. Okay, so we are setting the resolution of the screen to the width and the height. So now I want to have this caption on the window itself. So I'm just going to say pygame dot display dot set caption, and the caption here is just snake game. So that's what we're having as a caption, and this other variable here, which we are going to use to control the speed of the game, we are going to call it clock. And why clock? Okay, I'm just comment this right there first. So here we are just creating the game window itself, and okay, the other variable here is clock. All right, so why clock? And this clock is just to control the speed. I mean, yes, control the speed of the game itself. You must have, when if I gamer, you must have all these frame per seconds. So this clock is just to control the speed of the game. So the rate at which the object on the interface keep on changing itself, keep on moving, keep on changing position. So we have clock object right here. Clock object to control speed of the game. So we have that right there now. So next set of variable will be defining right here is the snake properties. And what do I mean by snake properties? This is the size of the snake itself and the speed of the snake itself. So I'll just go ahead and comment right here now the snake properties. Okay, you'll be seeing all this in implementation very soon. Well, let's just take our time to define all these variables. So the first one I'm having is the block size. So we are having this snake in block. So whenever you take a food, we increase the block by 1. So what's the size of this block we are having? So what we want the block size to be is 20 pixel. Then we want the snake speed to start from 5, and we are going to increase the speed over time. So initially the snake speed should be set to 5, right? So, and now what's the font we are going to use to display the score and the font for message? That's the message we receive when the game is over. So I'll just have another comment here and I'll call it fonts for displaying the text we have. So that's that right there. So the font style, just okay. The font style. Sorry about that. So the font style here is just equals to pygame dot font dot. I want to get this font from the system, so I just need to say dot system font and the name of the font followed by the size of the font itself. So here we are using, I don't know how to pronounce this, but I'll just write it out there. Okay, this is the font we are using. So just write it exactly as you see it on the screen. Then we're having 25 right here as the size. So you can see Pygame is helping us right here to say this is the name of the font and this is the size of the font we are using. So we go ahead and add the score font also. Okay, so this is also pygame dot font dot system font, and here we're having the name to be Comic Sans MS. So we just comic, okay, a string, comic, and we have this size to be 35. Okay, so we have that. So let's just go ahead and have our game loop right here. So we are still going to define some other function except for this game loop, but this game loop is our main function, the one that controls the game itself, right? So we're having this game loop right here, and what are we doing in this game loop here? First of all, we have some variables. So if you have something that says this is our snake variable, it's snake speed itself. So we are using global so that we can modify this speed itself because it's defined outside of this function itself. That's why we're using global here. And now, yes, we can access it now. We just have these two variables called game over equals to false. So we set this to false by default. And we also have this second variable called game close. So what's the difference between game over and game close? So give me a second. So right here now, game over is just the variable, the boolean that check if the game is over itself. But game close check if the player has lost, but the game is still running. So when the game is closed, the player has lost, but the game is still running. But when the game is over, that means the player have lost, right? So, yep. So the next thing we want to do now is to have more variables, and the variable we want to have here is one that will determine the position of the snake and the movement of the snake itself. So we're going to have two different type of variable here. So you have x1, y1, and this is the x and y coordinate of the snake itself. So by default, we want the snake to be positioned initially at the start of the game at the center of the screen. So we are positioning the x position at the width divided by 2. So that's the width of the screen. That's the middle point of the screen now on the x-axis. And we also position it on the middle point of the screen on the y-axis. So both x and y divided by 2. So we are using this double division to give us cross division. So it's rounding it down to the nearest integer. And this x1 change is going to be the movement of the snake itself. And initially, this game is stagnant itself, it's not moving. So the x1 change, the y1 change, and the x1 change is going to be set to 0 by default. So we have it to be 0. So we want to have our snake list itself because this snake is going to be a list so that we can keep on appending more snake to the list. So once the snake has eaten a food, we add a block to the list. So that increases the size of the snake, the length of the snake itself. So we just have, okay, let me just comment here. Lists that stores the snake's body parts. So it's storing the body part itself. Then now we have the snake list itself now. And this snake list is set to an empty list by default. And we have the snake length. And the snake length itself by default is set to 1. So now the snake length to be the 1 by default, the snake list to be 0, to be an empty list by default. Oh, sorry about that. So now we want to have a random position for our food. And where is this position going to be? So let me just have a comment here. Initial This is the initial. This is it. Okay. Let's see. This is the initial position of the snake. So we have that there. So now I want to have a random initial position for the food. So this is going to be modified every time the snake eats the food. That's the snake colliding with the food itself. Position of the food. So we have food on the x-axis and food position on the y-axis. I just want this to be random, so I'll just separate these two variables. So what I just want to do here is just literally have the same thing here. So I just say rand, and what we want to do here is to use a random module we've imported in the beginning. So random dots rand range. So we're getting some position here between two range. So we're starting from 0, the range of 0, and we want to stop at, okay, let's just see. I want to stop at the width for the x position of the food, then minus the block size. And why do we say minus the block size? Because we don't want this food to be starting where the screen ends and extending to where we can't see on the screen. So we want it to always be able to be positioned, at least so that it's like stopping at where the screen ends itself. So after this, we want to divide it by 20.0 and multiply it again by 20.0. So we just go ahead and change this to height because it's on the y-axis. So that's it there. So what we're going to do now here is have two loops, but we're going to be creating one first. So why the game is not over. So this is going to loop until the player quits this game, right? So why the game is not over, we want to check for something. So I want to check if a key is pressed. To control the snake itself. So I want to go through all the events. So for events in Pygame, so I'm looking through all the events in Pygame dot event dot get. So if the event dot type now is equals to Pygame dot quit. So this quit should be in capital uppercase. Pygame dot quit, right? What do we want to do? We want to set this game over equals to true. So I just go ahead and say game over equals true. So we have our equal sign there. Game over equals true. So I'll just go ahead and try to run this now. The game is not yet ready, but let's give it a try. Of display dot updates. This is just to update the game screen itself. We're going to have so I just have game loop right here. So now we can see our screen right here. Our screen is on the screen, Avi. Our screen is showing right here. So this is the dimension of the screen as we defined. Why do we define that? Okay, right here, 800 and 600. So I have it this way. So let's just go ahead and quit this. Now the game has been quit. We've quitted the game. So let's go back to our game loop function and continue working with this. So, and now the other event type we want to check for why in this game loop is if any key was pressed. So if event.type now equals to Pygame dot key down. So if event.type equals to Pygame dot key down, we want to check and modify the direction based on the arrow key pressed, right? So what I'm just going to do here is to check if event.key if event.key is equals to Pygame dot key left. So this can work by us pressing the left arrow key and the x1 change is equals to 0. So you see this when we are running the game very soon. And because why we are checking these two conditions is because once it's already moving in the x direction, the y, it's not be moving in the y direction. That means the y change will be set to 0. So for us to modify this game based on moving in the x direction, we need to confirm whether this x change is set to 0. That means it's formally moving in the y position. Then changing the x change to move in the x position will just be like, okay, now it's not moving formally in the x position. We want to modify it to move in the x position. So right here now, we will now be changing both x1 change and y1 change. And what are we doing with x1 change and y1 change? We are setting x1 change to minus block size. That means it's moving in the negative x direction. That's because we press the left button key. And the y change now is set back to 0. So we are going to do the same thing for checking the right condition. So I'll just go ahead and copy this now and just, okay, paste it here. And this will be elif. So this is like k right here, and here we are doing opposite of what we've done. So that's just the blockchain. The block size now is positive and not negative. So I'm moving right in the block size direction. Okay. So let's just do this one more time for the y change itself. So just go and paste this. And now I'm checking if it is key up and down. So key, okay, up. and the y change is set to 0. And here, when it is up, I'm modifying the block size on the y-axis to be minus block size itself. So I just go ahead and copy this one more time. Okay, that's copied. Then we paste it here, and here we are checking for key down, right? So when the key is down, here it is positive y change. So up. That's that for that. And the next thing we want to do right here now, outside this for loop itself, what I want to do outside this for loop itself now is to check if the snake hits the boundary. And if the snake hits the boundary, it is game over, right? So first, now when the game hits the boundary, all we need to do is to check the position of the snake at the time we are comparing it to the boundary itself. Like, yes, the maximum width we have in the boundary. So if in any situation the x1 position of the snake is greater than or equals to the width, if in any at any situation in the game, or the x1 position is less than 0 itself, or the y1 position is greater than or equals to the height, or the y1 position is less than 0. So space here, we are going to set this game close to true. But what will happen if when the game close is true? And that's where the second y statement comes in right here. So under this y statement, we are going to have another while loop. Okay, I said while statement, so sorry, I mean while loop. So while the game is closed, whenever the game is closed itself, what do we want to do? So the game is closed when the player lost the game, right? So we want to like clear the screen and make sure that the screen is just like filled with black itself. Dot fill. Want to fill the screen with black color, and we are getting this black from the variable we defined earlier in this tutorial. Then now we want to send out a message here that says the player lost the game. So we're going to just say message here, and message here is a function we are yet to define. So we just say message you lost, and we want you to press Q for quit or C to play again. And we want the color of this message to be red. So where is this message function coming from? We are yet to define that function, so I'll just go ahead and define it above this game loop. So I will just call it def message right here, and we are taking into parameter which is the message itself and the color of the message itself, right? So what we just want to do here is just have the message to be equals to font style dot render. So we want to render this message right here. Then we set this to true, and I want to send the colors to the color from this place. I'm adding to parentheses, so we just go ahead and clear one. So now the position of this message. What's the position of this message? That's why you're going to use screen.split msg. That's the message variable itself. So we want this to be at the width, so we're going to give it a list of the position itself. That's the x position and the y position. So the width divided by 6 and the height divided by 3. So this is just displaying the this thing. We display the message around the corner, like this, at the corner, around the middle, near the corner of the screen. So it's going to display it right there. So that's what this message we do. So, and after this message now, what do we want to do? We want to display this final score of the game. So just go display score snake minus, okay, snake length. So snake length, so the snake length is the score, the length of the snake is the score. Well, why are we saying -1? That's because the snake is initially having 1 in its value before we start the game. So we want to subtract that 1 from it when we are calculating the score itself. And where is this display score also coming from? That's a function we are yet to define. So I'll go above right here too and define that function here. I'll call it display so call it display score. We are inputting the score as a parameter right here. So I just want the value, a variable called value, to be set to score font. Okay. So just use score size here, score style dot render. So we're rendering. So this is the formatted string here. Your score. Then we have this score right here. Then we have true, and it should be in blue color. So right there. Then we want to place this at the screen again. So we go ahead and say screen.blitz. So this is the value we are rendering on the screen. Then the position now. Which position do we want to put this on the screen? I want to put this as the position of 10 on the y-axis and 10 on the x-axis. So it should be on the left corner of the screen. So going back to our inner while loop right here. Now when we display the score, we just want the Pygame to update its window itself. So pygame.display.update. So once that is done, we want to check what the user press. Okay, so I can show you that in action. Let me just go ahead. Before coming back there, let's go ahead and update the snake position right here. So forever in this game, we always want to update the game position once it has started. So we just say, okay, update the snake position. Sorry, not the game, the snake position. So what do we mean by updating the snake position? This is just by incrementing the x1 and the y1 position of the snake with the change. So that's plus equal x1 change. So if they're both 0, that means there's no difference there. So y1 to be plus equal y1 change. So once we are doing that, once we update the position, we fill the screen with black. So screen dot fill black. So let's just go ahead and draw this food and draw the snake also. So Pygame dot let's draw dot rectangle. We are drawing a rectangle here, and we are drawing this on the screen. By drawing this on the screen, this is the color of the rectangle, and now we are having a loop that is containing information about this rectangle. So first, we have foot x and foot y. This is the position on the both the y and the x axis. Then the width and the height, which is going to be like in a square format. So it's going to be both same size. So block size. So we're having it this way now, and next part of this code is us updating this snake value and rendering this snake on the screen. So how do you want to update this snake value? Is by updating this snake list itself. So update snake's body. How do you do that? We have the snake head. To be at the x1 and the y1 position always, right? Then we have the snake list now. We are appending the snake head to it. So we are appending this snake head to it. So once we have appended the snake head to the snake list, we want to check if snake list is greater than the length. So if the snake list exceeds the length, we want to remove the tail. So just check if length of the snake list itself is greater than the length of the snake. And if we find ourselves in a situation like this, we want to remove the snake tail, we can just remove one of the elements in this snake. Oh, that should be the snake head. So I'm modifying the snake list there, and we're deleting the elements in effects index. Right? So another condition that will tell us if this game is close is when the snake collide with itself. And how do we check if the game collide with itself, if the snake collide with itself? So just comment here now, say check if the snake collides with itself. So we want to loop through this block for block through this list. In snake list. So we're looping through this. So we are looping through this from the first to the last in a backward, in a reverse format. Then I want to check if this block, if the block we select at that specific time is equals to the snake head. Don't forget, we set the position of the snake head to this. So when we loop through this, and if in any instance any of this block is having the same position as the snake head, we want to know this snake has collided with itself. Then we want to close this game. So once we've done that, so now let's draw this snake on the screen and the score also. So I just go ahead and run this so you can see. Okay, there's an error here. Where is error coming from? So that's fixed right there. So it's just a problem with the indentation. So I think yeah, we're good to go. So we have it right here, nothing on the screen yet. So let's go ahead and have the snake display on the screen itself. So we are going to draw the snake and display the skull. So let's just go here and say draw the snake and display the skull itself. So how do we draw the snake and display the skull? We are going to have a function that will handle that for us. And this function is going to call draw snake, and it's going to take the block size as a parameter and the snake list itself. So let's go ahead and define this function. So I just put it in between these two right here. So a function to draw the snake. Okay, you might be thinking is kind of long function to draw the snake, but no, promise this is not up to 5 lines of code. So we are drawing the snake right here. So the two parameters we are taking here is block size and also the snake list itself. And what we want to do here is to loop through this snake list, and for each block we want to represent it on the screen. So it's just for block in snake list. We want to draw this on the screen, so you're just going to say pygame.draw.rect, and here we have screen, we have the rectangle, okay, we have the color which is green for our snake, we have the element itself which is the position. So the position is going to be position of block 0, then block then block 1. Why are we saying block 0 and block 1? Don't forget that this snake list is a list of lists. So it's a list that contains the position of each block of the snake, or each part of the snake. So when we are looking through this snake list itself, we are getting a list, a mini list out of this long list. And this mini list is just containing 2 elements, which is the Y position and the X position. So I'll just comment something right here now. So it's just like, okay, we have a list like this, a list of snake like this. So we have the X1 position, we have the X1 position, we have the X2 position, sorry about that, X2 position, and we also have, I said X2, sorry, Y1 position right here. And now we have another block, that's X2 and Y2, and this is how close. So this is the list now. When we look through this, a block is just a single mini list like this. This a block, this another block from here. So when we look through this now, we are getting the X1 position of that specific snake and the Y1 position of that specific part of the snake. Now, what is the size of this representation on the screen, of this rectangle on the screen? So it's just going to be block size. And don't forget that in the beginning of this game, we set our block size to 20 pixels, right? So it's just going to be block size and block size. And that's all about our draw snake function. That's all you need to write on the draw snake function. So I just go ahead and okay, display score right here. It's going to have this function display score, and what is it going to do? It's just going to take in the score, right? So at that point, we just want to have the snake length -1 as the parameter of the score itself. So I just go ahead and try to run this again. I can see this screen at Vim. We can see the screen, but we are not seeing the snake on the screen. Why? That's because I forgot to add another part right here. So just go ahead and close this program. And this is the part I'm going to add there. So I'll just like put this in the right index here just to update the screen. So run this again. Now we can see the snake and we can see this food in a random position. Now you can see, yes, the movement is still not all right because we are still writing the code. So we can quit, we can play again. So I'll just quit this game by just canceling this. Okay, so that's that about that. But working on the movement of the snake itself, so I'm just showing, I think there's something we are yet to sort out right here. Okay, while this game is over, we want to be able to check for this Q down or key press so that we can know when we are trying to quit the game or when we are trying to continue the game. So we just can now check the user input, quit or restart. Check the user input. So we're checking the user input now, whether user is trying to quit the game or restart the game. So we are going to look through the events again we have in this event that is occurring at this instance in Pygame. That Pygame is noticing, the event that Pygame is noticing that is occurring. So we look to this event.get, and when we just run event.get right here, I want to check if this event type now dot key, okay, if the event.type now is equals to us pressing a key down, right? So I'll just put this down. This event.time is equals to pygame.keydown. So this keydown is in uppercase. So if it's in pygame.keydown, what do we want to do? We want to just check if this key is either Q or C. So if event.key is equals to pygame.kc. So this should be in calculator, I guess. Q, yeah. So if Q was pressed down, we want to set game over to true. That means we are quitting this game. And we want to set game close to false. And game close to false. Then otherwise, if this event.key, I'll just go ahead and copy this. Okay, let's paste it here. If event.key is C instead, what do we want to do? We just want to call this game loop again. Like this kind of recursion, because I'm trying to call this function inside this function again. So if I should go ahead and run this again. So now it's up. If I enter C, we are running this again, right? Now the snake is not moving due to one error or the other, which we will see to very soon. But now I can quit the game by pressing Q and the loop will be over. So now we are displaying the score and we are displaying the length. So we want to check if the snake hits the screen now itself. But before that, let me just add two things here. Pygame.quit. So when that while loop is not running, want to quit this Pygame and want to quit this. Yep. Exit the program. So I just run this one more time. So yeah, quitting now is working well, quite all right. So we can quit the game using Q right there. And the control of the speed of the game, which is what we've not implemented while the snake is not moving, is just by saying clock.tick. So we want the clock of this game to tick at the speed of the game itself, of the snake itself, snake speed. So let's go ahead and run this again. So we can see this clock is ticking. You can see the snake is moving. But we are not doing anything. We are trying to eat this snake. We are not doing anything, right? We are not doing anything. Nothing is happening. And the game is over. So I can enter scene now and I'm restarting the game, right? What you notice that once I'm moving the y-axis, it's going straight, right? It's not changing in the x-axis. And once I'm moving in the x-axis, it's not changing in the y-axis. This is because when I'm modifying the y-axis, the x-axis is set to 0. And when I'm modifying the x-axis, the y-axis is set to 0. So now let's work on eating this food in Pygame. So we want to check if there's a collision between the snake and the food, right? So I'm coming, give me a second, let me just confirm if this is recording. Oh, that's all right. 51 minutes. Wow, that's sorry this tutorial is long. So to check that now, what we need to do is just we want to check the x1 position of the game. So it's just like check if the snake eats the food. So if x1 is equals to food x and y1 and y1 is equals to food y. So if the position of the food and the position of the snake head are in the same place, what do we want to do? We want to change the position of the food itself. So let's just look for our food y and x. Yeah, we have the position right here. So I'll just go ahead and copy this. Go ahead and copy this and paste it right under here. So I'll paste it right here. So we want to change this position like that. So once we change the position, we want to modify the snake length itself. Increase the snake length by 1. So that's just snake length by plus equal 1. And I want to gradually increase the speed of the snake. So this is going to increase the difficulty of this game over time. And I just increase it by 0.5. You can put it to 1 to just increase it exponentially. But for the sake of this tutorial, let me put it as 1 so we can just run through this program quick. So I can lose so quick. So you can see now we have it in different position, and the speed of the game is gradually increasing drastically. So now we can see we have our snake game right here running well, doing well. Okay, that's all, and I can start this game again. And you see, there is a problem right here now. When I'm starting the game again, restarting is using the former speed it has there for me. And why is this? That's because that's the speed this loop has. But now to stop that, I will initially set this speed to 5 whenever I enter this option, this game function itself. So I'll go ahead and run this again. So I just like to get to a particular score and lose this game and see if the speed will be back to just to start this. So score 1, and this is the speed for being a score 1, score 3. Okay, now I've lost the game. So if I restart this game, you can see I'm back to using this 0 score speed. So just lose like that intentionally, and I quit this game. So that's all about this tutorial. I've loved to add sound to this game, but this tutorial is already too long. It's taking time, and we didn't later use this time function, so you can just go ahead and remove that. Yeah, it's taking too time and it's too long So that's all for today. Thanks for watching my tutorial. If you like more, if you want to have more of these tutorial videos on game development with Python, let me know in the comment section. I would like to know this type of game you want us to create, or this kind of project you want us to create or work with in Python. Thank you all. See you next time. Goodbye.